from next program till last time we continued that one. Now we'll discuss regarding this one. So here can anyone tell me like why this error is showing here? In the test method we have some error is showing, red icon. What is this and why it is showing here?
Because this method is not there, that is why it is showing error.
Correct, yeah. So this is the class I and the main method. Inside main method we have SOP, that is fine. After that this some test method is there. So that test method is not defined. If you click here, see this is undefined type of method that is not available inside I. So whatever the test method is there, or the test 1, test 2, test 3, or anything, any name which is related for argument method, non-argument method, that should be declared inside the class. So class is I, here this is not defined, so that's why we are getting some compile time. So if we run this program, so that will be, so there is a some exception, that is a this is the main java.len error. Why? Unresolved compilation problem. So compilation problem while you are doing this is compile time error. And why? What is the error? Test method is undefined in this type of I is a class name. So these all are the non-static method. How can we declare a static method? Where to use? How we will use? These all informations will be there in the app 3. So app 3 will have some 10 to 11 program is remaining. Here we will cover all. So see in this main method we have a class K. So class K is a main method. Inside the main method we have a test call. So inside main method we don't have any SOP. First we have test call. So the test call will go for this test, only test method. So test method is will go from a static void test method, this one. So this one will be executed. Inside we have two SOPs there, form test and form test. So that will be printed. After that it will again execution will come in this line number 13, because test method is completed. Then it will come for the next line number 13. So this is this that will be printed, this test. And after that again we have a two times of test method. So first it will go for the line number 14 test. Line 14 test will have a two SOP, this test method inside that. So this will be printed. Again it will compiler will go for this execution will go for this line number 15. So in this 15 also we have a test method. So this test method will have a two SOP. So what will be the output? Everyone, can you please tell me what will be the output?
Does
No, first will be test will call.
yeah, test will also.
So what will be the output?
You didn't declare anything for test.
No, test is declared. No, this static void test is there. Inside that we have a two SOP. So compiler will search first main method. So main method is there.
From test.
Yeah, form test. Then
Then test. Then
yeah,
form test. Will be two from test, then a line that the sysout will be printed. Then again it will go to test, then two test, then two test. So
correct.
total first from two test two time, then a line, then four time test.
Yeah, correct. So the same will be the output. If you run this program here, see form test, then test, then form test four times. So like that we can use non-static method. Now here see the class L is there. Inside this class L we have also main method is there and a static method is there. And a static method they have mentioned return here because this is void type. So last time we already told you like a void will have no return type. So there nothing is there, just they mention return as a keyword. But if you are not mention this one, there is no issue, because this is a void type, there is no return type. Void means blank. If you declare here int, so it should be return type. So return type either int is there, so return type should be numeric, like here we have to mention this 10 here, or anything either 0 1 2, then only this will be valid method. Because if you are declaring any return type here, what type of return, it integer, byte, short, long, strings and all, the same way we have to return this, either 0 1 2. If integer is there, then some numeric. If float is there, then some decimal. If double is there, then some big decimal. If a string is there, then some a string's name will be there, like that. So here this existing program we have void. So void, they mention return, that is also valid. Why? Because they are not doing any return, just they have added one keyword as a return, semicolon. So there is no issue. This will behave like a void return. Line number 9 will behave like a void return. So if L program, we have a main method, so compiler will go for this line number 11. In this line number 11 we'll have a test method, so test method will go for the line number 5. Line number 5 will have a two SOP method being, means form test being and form test end, that is 5. Return type is just a blank, because blank will show as a void, consider as a void. Now it will go for this blank blank blank, this one. Then again we have a test method, this will be called form test and being an end. So if we'll go for this output, if we'll run this program, see here the same. So we have a two type, being end, then dash 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 being end, like that. If you'll go for this one, can we consider all this, because all are related for static test method, how we are calling and what are the ways we can call. Can we consider all the program, or we can skip? We'll go for the next step. So here, if the class M is there, in the class M we have a main method. Inside this main method we have a main being, this SOP will be printed, and after that we have a test method. This test method have a line number 5 as static void test method. So this test method again we have a SOP, then SOP, then after that some statement is there, if true. So this conditional statement is there, if else if, these all are the conditions which will be take while these all are. So here if they are checking some conditions, either true or false. So if always will be either true or false. If true, then this statement will be executed. If false, then that will be skip. So here line number 8 we have if true, by default they passed as a true. So here we have to check the conditions, but they passed as a true, means this will be executed. Line number 10 will be executed, and see, line number 10 will be executed, and their return type is a blank, nothing is there, because this is also void, and here just they mention as a key as a return type, semicolon. Then after that, once this satisfied these conditions, it will go for the next line of execution, because main method end is here. So this line also will be executed, line number 13. So line number 13 test end will be completed. Then compiler will go from where, because last time this method has executed line number 18. So again compiler will go for the next line, so that is line number 19, and the output will be method end. So if we'll run this program, by default already compiled, if we will run this program here, see method being has started, so SOP has started, then test method has called. Inside this test method we have test being, then condition as true. If condition is true, then inside this statement also will be called form if, and then test end, and then main end. So like that executions will happen. So the next program is like class n is there. Inside that we have a static void test method, and the main method is there. So main method is calling first test method. So test method will go for this static void test. Here we have a SOP that will be printed, then return is there, and after that return again inside this method only, or return should be always last inside the method statement. So here what happened, they have mentioned some SOP in line number 7. After that they made return, either this is void, not an issue, but if you are declaring return as a keyword here, then after that there is no statement will be there, because whatever the statement you are writing after return, that will be unreachable statement. So that's why we are getting here some error. So always it should be inside this method. If you are doing some statement, after that we will have a later return statement. See, if you go for this program, so this, see, there is no return, after return there is no statement is there. If you go for other program also, see, return should be always last statement inside the method, not beside or first statement or beside that. Always should be the last, either void type of return or integer type, any type. If you declare as a void type return, that also should be the last here. So from this n word and program, they mention return inside that, and after that again they are doing some SOP inside the method, because method start and is their line number from 6 to 10. So inside that, so you will get some error, compilation error, unreachable code. See here this error, unreachable code. Why? Because this return statement is there. After that we have some SOP. If you will comment this code, then you will get error like this proper. So always remind this return, when to use return, why we are using return, what we have to pass in return. If either void, so if required you can use, else not an issue. Either blank also you can declare. If you will go for this class O, so we have a main method. So in main method we have main being, main end, and return is there. So class O have only main method, and main method always will be void. So for that we are not declaring in the return type. But in this program they mention return, but that is blank, so we can do it, not an issue. So this is, if you will run this program, we'll have a main being and then main end. And this program class P, we have main method. Inside this main method we have SOP. SOP is fine. After that there is, we have a if condition. So always we'll check the conditions. If we'll have, always check the condition either true or false. So by default if you are mentioning true, that will be execute. If false, and here we are checking the conditions, like if 100 equal to 100 means this will be satisfied, like 100 equal to 100 means this is a true conditions. So by default here will be the true here, and this compiler will go for inside this statement, and then they will check this SOP, and this SOP will be printed, and after that we have a return. So that return from this method. So returns, they mention just return here, so returns is not usable, but they have mentioned return, that is fine. And after that this statement, this return is not for this method, this return is related for here. So just they have declared return, so that is not usable. And after that this void, this is void related. So here again we have SOP, and there is no return type, that is also fine inside that. So if you want you can declare return here also, anywhere, but if you are using return blank there is no issue. And if you have some integer type, then you have to mention proper return statement. So if you'll run this program, are you able to hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we'll run this program here, what will be happen? So the compiler will go for the main method. Inside this main method, main being is printed, and after that they will check this condition. So if conditions is fine, it will go for inside that. So we have a form if, so that form if will be printed. And again here return statement they mention, because return statement should be inside the method, the last statement what we inside this method last statement should be there. But here what they mention, returns has created inside this conditions. So we have a if else conditions. So right now is a if conditions, inside they put a return. So this returns is not usable and either unreachable code. So after return whatever you printed, there is no compilation error in that, but this statement line number 13 will be unreachable. So always, because you mentioned some return, so returns will have a void type, and after that this SOP will be not printed, but this is valid, there is no issue. And here if you compare, see, so in this program we have a main method. Main method they have checked the conditions, so by default is true. So conditions has checked true, and again they mention return type. So return type is the first statement inside the if condition, not inside this method. Inside this if consider conditions, we have a first statement as a return, and then again SOP is there. So first statement should be not there, should not be there. So return type is here. So this line number 10 will be unreachable. So if we see here, this is unreachable code. Why? Because of return is the first statement. And if you'll run this program, the compile there will be some compilation error. But if you'll go from here, there is no compilation error is there, because in if conditions we mention return is the last statement. So that is not required, but if you return, there is no issue, because return type is blank, means nothing is there, or inside this if last statement is there, so there is no compilation error. But it won't be go for this line number 13, means unreachable code will be there. So this SOP will be unreachable, only output will show main being form if. But here if you'll see, in this if conditions only they have mentioned some return keyword. So that return keyword is unreachable, because first statement should not be there. So that will be compilation error. Compilation will go for this, and that returns is there. First is returns. So here these all are unreachable code, means unreachable means some errors will come, because this will not be compiled or not will be executed. So that's why. See, now we have changed here. This is int type method. Whatever we used before, that was a void type. Right now we are using integer type. Int means integer type we are using. So some numeric data will be there inside that. So what will happen, if you will run this program, compiler will go for the main method. Main method have SOP that will be printed. Then it will go for the test method. So test method is integer type here, correct? So integer type is there. So SOP will print it, but integer types always should be return type. So return 10, return 20, or whatever integer value. So in this line of method 5, line number 5 method, there is no return type. So that's why we are getting some compilation error. If you will see the error here, so the error is this method must be returned as a result type of int. Always should be the return statement in this inside the method last statement, line number 8 or 9, because it is commented here. Always should be return, and return should be integer type, but we are not declaring. Why? Because this is not a void. So if integer, byte, short, long, float, or any string type, then we should have to do the return what will be according to the declaration here. So that's why we will get a compile tab. See, if you'll see here, we have a class S, we have a main method. Inside this main method SOP printed. Now here we declare integer I. So integer I equal to test method. So whatever the test details will come or data will come, that will go initialized with integer I. Okay, so here test method will be called. So test method is a static in test. So once the why a static, what is the use of a static? Once the classes will be load, all a static method, all a static, this is also a static method, this is also a static method. So all a static method, all a static variables, all a static block will be executed. So that's why we declare a static. If you are not declaring a static, then this will be the instance block or a non-static method. Sorry, non-static method. So here once the compiler will call run, so here we have a main method will be called. So in main method we'll have a SOP, this will be printed. After that we have int I equal to test. So this test method will be called. Test method is integer type, means should be return type. So return will be integer type, either int any type of data. So here again SOP will be printed and return is 20. So we have a output is 20 from this method. Return is 20 means return is 20, so that will be initialized in integer I equal to 20 here. And then line number 14, what will be the I value? 20, because this test method has been executed. This is integer type, SOP has printed. After that they initialize int as a 20. So this 20 will be initialized here, integer I equal to 20 value from this test method. And now we are printing I and then format. So if we'll run this program here, so see the output from main means this executed line number 12, then it went for this test method line number 13. Line number 13 as an integer type method, so it will be go for an SOP form test as printed, then a return is 20. So this 20 will be initialized in integer because this is integer type and this is also integer sub. So test 20 will be initialized in integer I. Then we are printing line number 14, the I value, and then after that we have a 15. So line number 15 we have main end. So the output will be from main being from test 20 and from main end. So this will be the output. So like that we got this, what is class, what is package, we got this information, what is the package, why we are using package, what is a class, what is static, what all are the like what is a return type, how we will declare a return, what is void, why main method always execute. So these things we declare, what is instance variable, what is local variable. So if we'll go for the next one, here we have a main method. Class T will have a main method. So main method, see here integer I test method is there. So the test method is called, SOP has printed from here, and then return type is 10 because integer. So the out 10 is there in integer type. So that test method has 10 right now. So that will be initialized integer I as a 10 value. Again integer j have 10 plus test. So test again will call this one, and return type is 10 means j value is 10 plus 10 is equal to 20. So the output will have a this test. First is output line number 14 will have a test. So this test method will be called. So like that also we will use inside the SOP, we will call the method name. Inside the SOP we can declare direct variable name. Inside this method we can declare the reference variables name. Inside this method we can have a multiples additions, subtractions, additions of variables, instance methods and all. So if we'll run this program here, this test method will be called. So the output will be 10 from this line number 14. Line number 15 will be I value. So I value is also 10. Line number 15 and 16 will be some j value. So j value is 10 plus 10 because this test method will return 10. So 10 plus 10 means 20. Then if we'll go for this 17 line number, so I plus j plus test, so I equal to 10, j equal to, can you please tell me what will be the output of line number 17, everyone?
30.
Sorry,
Oh, plus one more 40, sorry. 10, 23, 40,
40.
40
Okay.
lines.
Others? So can others confirm what will be the output for line number 17? Firoz, Rita, Bubbly, Anjali, Anita.
Yeah, 40.
Okay, so why? Because of see here I equal to 10 value and plus j equal to also 10. So j equal to
No,
10
G is
plus,
20.
yeah, j is 10
Yeah.
and plus this test method. So test method also have a 10. So 10 plus 10 equal to 20. And then we have a again test method they are calling. So test method is return type is 10 here because integer we are passing. So again 10. So it look like it's a 40. I'm requesting everyone, whatever we are doing, just you can take one reference from the recording session or videos and just you do 3 to 4 program and practice for all the sections like app 1, app 2, app 3, because this all related for this small program to clarify your concept, like based on the theoretical. Instead of theoretical we are doing programming, so that you will understand all the concept by using programming style. So you can do a 1 or 2 program from every section and just practice. If you are okay, then you can do all the programs, but if you don't have time or any things, then you can at least take 2 3 programs from every sections, app 1, app 2, app 3, and then try to execute in your online compiler or any IDE. So if we'll go for the next program, so we have this one, a static int is there, but compiler will go for. So here what will happen, this is the package we declare. Line number 1 is a package, like package section 1 app 3. So this u class u is a Java class name. So this class name inside this package means inside this folder structures we have. So this folder structure is section 1 app 3. Inside that we have u.java is there. So this is a class. It means u is the u.java is, so class name is u. Inside that we have a open curly braces and close curly braces, and then main method is there. So main method is public static void main string argument. We have a some execution line of code is there. So line number 12 is SOP, so means SOP is printed. Once compiler will, if you will compile this code u.java, so what will happen, all the static details will be loaded. So this data also will be loaded, this method. Line number 5 details also will be loaded. Line number 10 method also will be loaded while you compile, in that time only, because a static should always load when the class will be loaded or compiled, but always should be execute the main method first, because compiler knows main method first. So here main method will go and this SOP will print it. Then we have a test method. Test method will go for line number 5. So it will see, oh, integer type means we have a return type something, so some return value will be there. So SOP will be printed, and after that last statement should be return. So return is 20, means this test method will define as a 20 value, but we are not printing. So means as form main being form test, and then after that this line of execution will go for this line. Next line is a 14. Here main end will be there, but there is no any in others method where we define this test method or all. So there is no others variables where we need to define and all. So this will be written as a 20 is there in this test, but there is no SOP as declare or any definitions. So that's why the output will be like form main being, then form test and main end. but this test method have return type is 20 will be there later, or if you want to define integer I, then there you can use. See here we have some. So class B have main method. Inside this main method we have a system.out.println test. So this test method. So this test method will go from this. So this is a void type. Void type test method means like a there is no return type here. If you want, you can declare the return type is after this line of 7, but there is no use of blank or empty return statement. So here we are getting some compile time error. Why? Because of system.out.println. If you go from others, if you will do here void mismatch conversion void to into here, if you will declare as a comment this here. See here. So if in this program whatever we discussed last time class T, inside that we have a one void test is there, and in main method we are printing system.out.println and this test method. If we are calling this one, here we are getting some compile time exception, sorry, compile time error. What is that? So if you go or hover this mouse, so here method, the method println boolean in this type of print stream is not applicable for this void argument. So if you return here void, and if you are printing this test method, I told already inside this SOP we can use any type of method or addition, subtractions, or instance variable, reference variable, and anything we can use. But if your statement should be void, then we can't use here void, because you will get this type of errors. Method println is boolean type, means this method, this is also a method. Println is a method here, because test method is there inside open braces, close braces is there, open curly braces and close curly braces is there. So inside this println, so in println also is a method inside. See, this method println is a boolean type. So print stream is not applicable for this argument as a void. So we should not use void here. So if you are using void, then we can't use this test method inside this println method. So that's why we are getting the output. So if we'll run this program here, class V, right? So in this class V, we will get this compile time error, the same whatever we printed. So in this scenario, we can't use test method directly inside this SOP method statement. And if we'll run this program here, so see here, this is a static method and this main method. So in main method what we are doing, I int I equal to 10 plus test. Same we did already before this program also here. Int I equal to 10 plus test, int j equal to 10 plus test. So like that we are doing in this W program, class W. So in that class W have a test is void type, but there was some return integer type. So integer we can use, but void we can't use. Why? Because if you will use this, then you will get this type of error. So you should know to understand why why we are getting this error and what is the reason behind this. So this operator means the operator plus is undefined for this argument type integer void, because 10 plus 10 plus this test method should be integer. Compiler is expecting as an integer some value, then they will add 10 plus 0, 10 plus 1, 10 plus 2, 10 plus 3, anything. So whatever the integer value will be there, then they can add. But here what we are getting, we are getting fill over here, so we are getting some void. See in the last number, last line, the operator plus is undefined for the argument type as is integer, but we are getting some void, integer comma void is there. So that why void means this will be a blank statement. So compiler will don't know what will be there, either blank statement is a string type or numeric type or decimal type. So compiler will show compile time exception error here. So if you run this program, you will get the same. This plus operator is undefined for this argument types, because this is integer type and they are expecting also integer argument, but here some void is there, so this void is not applicable. If you made here as a integer type and if you will do some return type here, then you will get the, because in last program we did the same. See there was a integer and then we made 10 plus test like that. So that's why we are getting compile time error. In this next program we have a main method. So in that main method we have a test. Inside this test we have a static in test, this method. Here what we are doing, we are initializing int I equal to 10, that is fine. Then we are returning the same, because int needs some return type, either return type of any numeric. So before using what they have, they initialize this I integer type of I is a reference of integer and this is 10. So based on that reference they are returning this statement, so that is also valid. So return I means return 10 they are doing. So what will be the output if you run this program? We are there is no SOP or anything is there, just they have made this business logic, but there is no SOP. Only this test method will call. Inside this test method integer type, they initialize the int I 10 and they are calling return as a I value. So I value is 10, so SOP this has returned, but there is no SOP and all, so this will be terminated. There is no output for this. If you go for this next program, can anyone tell me what will be the correct output for this? If you understand this section app 3, then this last two program you should have to know about the correct output. So can anyone tell me what will be the output for this? Can everyone tell me? Everyone. If you are able to do the correct output, then I know like you understand all app 1, app 2, app 3 sex. You understand all those concepts.
So the test one will print test one and line number 17, 18 and 19 will print 100 and 200. The test two will print 100.
Okay, so test one will be called in main method. Test one means this test one method will call. Then SOP will be printed 100. Okay, and then test two. So test two method will be called. SOP is printed. Then return type is
Okay.
test1. So test1 return type is 100. This 100 will come here. So again test2 has written 100. Now here SOP test2 plus test1. Test2 is 100 and test1 is also 100. So the output will be 200 and then test2 will be called form test and then 100. So 100 won't be um, see this output is like form test, means form test has been executed and after that it went for this form test 2. So here form test 1 and then return type is 100 and then form test 2 form test 2 and then here return type of 100 and then
So
okay,
when we are calling test one, why only test one is printed? Why the return type 100 is not printed?
no 100 is we don't have any print here, just we are returning this but we are not printing this because we need to initialize, then we have to print. Just a minute.
No, but it is getting printed when we are calling test two.
Yes, just a minute. If we are doing this, so compiler will call main method first, so main method will go for the line number 15 and after that test
17, yeah. In
test
17,
one will be
when calling
taken and then
test
test
out will be called.
form test one will be called, then return is 100. That is correct.
Can we do the debugging in this so that we'll come to know why when we are calling test two, okay, when calling test two, it is printing test one as well as it is printing return also
Yes,
100.
yes. So if you want to debug here, then what will happen? Main method is the first line execution. So
Yeah.
here we have to put the debug. So this is the debug point. So this is a break point we can say, and
Mhm.
this method also we can use. So once you will run as a debug mode, so here we have a debug. So if you want to run as a debug mode, see after that what will happen. This test method has been called, like main method has been executed first, line number 15. Inside this we have a test one method. So this test one method is called, then function f6 is the line number execution. So one by one that will be executed. Just a minute. What happened? This just a minute.
Now it is not printing 100. Now it is just giving you the sum 200.
No,
It's
all
not returning.
this is the same way output of, just a
Mhm.
minute.
Yeah.
Debug as this one. So this line has been executed. What happened? Program terminated. Just if we'll run here debug F11. See, this is the icon. Step into F5 is there. So if we'll go for a step 5, because see this is a STS, so STS have F5 is a step over, sorry, a step into, and F6 is a step over, but we are using mostly IntelliJ have F6 is a step into, so that's why I was trying with F6. So in a step over means like first compiler will go for the main method. Inside this main method we have a test one, so that test one, if we do a step into, so a step into will go for this method. So this method is declared in the line number 5, so the static in test one, so inside this test one this SOP will be entered. Just just will run here debug. Okay, so this debug line number 17, and then line number 17, then we went for this method step 1 test 1. Okay, inside this test 1 step return step over, so this form test has printed, right? Form test 1 has printed. Now this return, because this is integer type, so return is 100. Now again it went for the compiler, went for this line number 17, so this has completed and this form test has printed. Now it will go for form test 2, so this form test 2 is this one, line number 10. So this line number 10, why form test 2 line number 10 means line number 10, form test 2 then form test 1. Okay, so what is happening here, see form test 2, first compiler will come for this line number 17, so this test method has called, right? So this test method SOP is form test 1 has printed the first one, and then return is 100. Now again the compiler will go for line number 17, then that will be executed from line number 18. So line number 18 is a test 2, so that test 2 means this method will be called. So in this method form test 2 is printed, form test 2 is printed. Now inside, see the return type is, I haven't seen this one, so that's why return type is test 1 here. So that again test 1 will call. If you mention this return type here, line number 13 test 1, so this test 1 will be called, so test 1 will be called, then this form test 1 again will be printed. So form test 1 has printed. Now return statement value is integer type is 100, so here 100. So this test 2 is 100. Okay, so yeah, so the test2 value we are printing here, already we seen, right? Last time SOP, if you are doing any method directly we can use this test2 method also. So here what will be the value of test2 value, return value? So test2 return value is 100, so this 100 has printed. Now again what we are doing in line number 19, so if we'll compiler will go for line number 19, and then this line 19 will have a test2, so this test2, again this test2 will be called, means form test1. Just see this test2, see, are you able to understand this first line of program?
No,
No.
no.
Okay, So see what will happen, compiler will go for the first line number 15 because this is the main method. So in this main method we have a test1, right? So test1 method will be called line number 5. So in line number 5, first what is there, form test1. So this form test1 has printed this one, and after that they have return type, so return 100 is there, that is fine. So right now test1 is printed. Now again compiler came here line number 17, and after that it will go for the next statement to execute line number 18. So in line number 18 have a test2, so this test2 will be called. So inside this test2 what is there, form test2. So this is printed form test2, and then they have one return statement. Return statement is test1. Instead of numeric data, see this is integer type, instead of numeric they may call test1 method here. So this test method again they will execute. So if this will be executed, then the output will, like this SOP will be printed, form test1. Form test1 has printed. Now form test1 has been printed. So the test2 return type is 100 because this test1 has printed and return type is 100. So same return type will be used in test2 also, because return test1 method is there. So whatever return type for test1 method, the same return type for test2 also. Now what we are doing in line number 18, we are printing test1 test2 method. So test2 method return type will be printed in SOP. So this return type is 100 here. So this 100 has been printed. Now clear?
So, so the question is, in the first one,
Hmm.
line number 17, test one, why it did not print 100 then?
Line number?
When line number 17, test one,
Hmm. Yeah.
when it went to the method, it printed the from test one, and then why did it not return the 100?
Yeah, because of this test method we are calling here, we don't have any SOP for this. So if you'll do any SOP inside that, we are calling some SOP means system.out.println. This is a method, inside that we are calling one method. So for that method whatever will be the return type, so that will be printed. So in line number 17 we have only method call is there. So this method call will go for this, and then we have a system.sop is there. So this will be printed, but return is 100, but we are not printing anywhere. And inside this line number 18 we are printing this test2 method. So if we'll print here the same, then 100 will come. If we'll print here,
So yeah, we wanted to say if we directly call test2 method without printing the SOP, right? If we delete the system.out.println and we directly call this S2 method, so you mean so that at that time it will not print the return,
no,
correct?
at that time it will not print a return, because only this executions will be called, and return type will, it won't be print.
Okay.
So
Can
here
we
if
just make it okay? Let's do one thing to be very. You're calling test one directly. Call test two also directly.
mm,
Uh, just include the one more line
yeah,
after
yeah,
this one. Here we are calling. So we'll come to know whatever the confusion is that will go out.
yeah, first is test1.
No, no, don't delete anything. Just add one more line after test one. We are calling test one. After that, call test two directly.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
comment anything. We'll come to know the difference there itself, that when we call test 2 what it is printing exactly.
So right now what will be the output from this if we'll do this test1? Understand? Form test1 if we'll
Yeah,
do, then directly it will
yeah, that
return
is
this one.
clear.
That is clear. Now we are doing form test2, right?
Yeah, test 2. Let's see whether it print the return type or not.
We are commenting this test1.
Hmm.
So if we'll do the test2 here, so what will happen? Just print this
Yeah,
test2, form test2, and then form test1, because again we are calling this one. Again this we are
yeah.
calling this one method, but this have written a statement as 10, but we are not doing SOP. Just we are calling this method only. So method have this test2 and this SOP is there. So that's why form test2 printed, and again we have a test1, so this test1 will go from here, and we have SOP, so from test1 will be printed. But return type is 100 for test1, so the same return type will come here also. So the return type for both SOP and from test1 and test2 is 100. And if you'll do
So
here
in
like
the
this, test1.
yeah, so in the test two, it is printing return value also, but in
Mhm.
the test one, it's not giving the return value. Why? So if you uncomment line number 17, it's just printing one value that is called from test one, and it's not returning the 100. But in
Correct.
test two, it's returning test two and also test one, and it's also returning.
No, test2, see test2, why? Because of return have a test1 here. In this test1 we have written as a numeric number 100, but here test1 is there, so this test1 method will be called. So test1 method, again we have a some SOP is there.
So what's the difference between value and the method? Because if we see like it's both of them are returning something.
Yes. So they are returning something, but we are not using in that. So for this test to have returned as 100, but we are not using because we have not printing for that value. Only we are printing the message whatever is there before that, and whatever this output like a test one return as 100 came, and for test 2 return as 100 came, but we are not printing here in this line number of 18, just we executed, and whatever the SOP is there that we are printing. See this. And if you'll do here, just a minute, if you'll go for this test one, see if you uncomment this line number 19, and here if we'll run this program, so 19th we have a form test. Why? Because of this test method we are calling. So in this test method in SOP have this form test will be called, and then return statement. So the return statement is SOP, sorry, return type is 10, sorry, 100. So this 100 also will be printed. So this is a method which is calling, and this is SOP inside that method we are calling. So inside this method value also will be printed, whatever the return value, return type value will be there, that also will be printed inside that. So this is the difference. If you'll uncomment here, and if you'll comment for this test 2 here, line number 20, see this output. See, for the test 2 we have a form test 2, then again test 1 has called form test 1, and then return type, because we called
We cannot print, right? That
yeah, tell me.
this one we're not printing, and still we are getting 100.
Yeah, because
Return time we are not printing.
return type we are printing, right? Return time this is a return type
For
only.
test one,
Test 1, yeah. So see here what will happen. See here form test 2 will be called, right? System SOP will be called form test 2, and then this is test 1 method is there. This is a method. If you will do here
yes.
some 10, suppose some 10, then what will be output here? If you will run here, see form
Mm-hmm.
test 2 and then 10, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But what we are doing here, we are calling this test1 method. So this test1 method will call here, and this SOP is there. So this SOP will be called, and then return type is there. So SOP will always have a return type will be printed. So see why 100 here?
Mm-hmm.
Because this test one have this SOP has printed, after that have return type 100, so that's why we are printing in this. Understand? So if we will undo this all program here, now first test one will have a this one form test, because this method we are calling here, we don't have any SOP and all. Then in test 2 we have a SOP in system.out.println, we are calling test 2 method. So test 2 method, whatever returns will be there, that also will be printed. So then test 2 form test 2, then form test 1 will be called, because here test 1 method, and this return type, so this 100 also will be called. So these two completed. Now if we'll go for the test 2 here, no sorry, this one, this two completed. Now we'll go for this one. So if you'll have a SOP is there, again system.out.println, inside the test2 method and test1 method is there. So in this test2 method the same output will be called, whatever we have inside, that's the same, plus test1 method. So test1 method is this one, test1 method form test1 100. So if you'll run and this program, see here, first is this one, and second is form test 2, then form test 1, form test 2, form test 2, then form test 1, then form test 1, and then 100. Understand? Because we are doing addition, so additions will have a both return type. A plus B return type means test 1 plus test 2 return type. So test 2 return type is 100 and test 1 return type is also 100. So that's why we have 200, and then in this test 2 and the line number 24 test 2 is there. So test 2 we don't have SOP system.out.println, so only test 2 will call form test 1, form test 2, and then return type is there. So return type is form test 1, because test 1 will be called form test 1, and return type is 100, but we don't have SOP, so SOP will not take here. Understand?
Yeah.
I'm still confused about the 200. How did we get the 200?
Okay, for this 200,
Yes.
yeah, so see here, this is test 1, test 2, right? So what will be the output for test 2? Test 2 will have a form test 1, form test 2, and then this test 1, right? So this test 1 have a form test 1, right? So form test 2, form test 1, and return type is 100, correct? So here already output and return type is 100, means 100 is already there, 100 plus, again what we are doing, test 1. So test 1 is form test 1, right? And return type is for this also 100. So this 100 plus 100 equal to 200, right? Because in SOP whatever the test data we are concluding, and return type also we are concluding, and here we have a addition is there. So in additions return type of test 2 is 100, because here 100 test 1 is calling, so test 1 return type is also 100, and here test 1 return type is 100, so 100 plus 100 equal to 200. And return should be always last statement on this. So in this execution form test 2, and then this test method calls for form test 1. So this form test 2, form test 1, now this will be added, form test1 method. So this test1 method have form test1. So this has included here because from addition is there, means this plus, and after that all the return statement. So from test2 return statement is 100, from test1 return statement is also 100, because we are calling this and this. So both 100 plus 100 equal to 200. Clear? Clear or not?
Uh, yeah, a little bit clear, but I'll try to do it by myself.
Yeah, you can try this. This is the main program. We will discuss tomorrow also if required. This in section 4, this is the main program which will be clear all the concept from this all. Sorry, this is different one. Where is this? Just a minute. Just a minute. So hello everyone. So I think app 4 have completed. Only two last two program is remaining. So can you try for this last one? Last whatever we discussed, and one is remaining. We will discuss tomorrow.
Okay.
Try to open recordings and there the last program whatever we have. So can you try? If you want, I can paste you that also through chat. So just you want to just you do the practice and all, why statics and all will be called and where, so that tomorrow we will continue from app 5 or section third one, section 2 app 1 I think, and whatever remaining two program that will be discussed. Okay.
Sure.